Welcome back to the Nutrimedical Report, and the writing style of our current guest, Gerald Celente of Trends Research, is amazing. He's writing almost like as a retro historian of the year 2012, and I like reading the first few lines of your summer newsletter, Episode 7. By 2012, no amount of confidence, hope, and optimism could cover up the crash. No country has escaped unscathed. The economic carnage was global. Double-digit unemployment, real estate worth less than half of its 2006 peak value, trade flows reduced to a trickle, manufacturing stagnant, retail decimated. How could it not happen? Gerald Celente, tell us, because one of those things when I read your newsletter, and everybody should get it at trendsresearch.com, if they aren't facing up reality, as they say, knowledge is power, but if you don't have correct knowledge, you're going to be a victim. And we're having the open maw of a giant beast that's about to consume the economies of the planet. It's not just a trade war. It's not just in one region. We've got problems in multiple countries and regions around the entire world. And as you've said, this is not a Great Depression. This is the greatest depression that's on its way.
Yes, it is. And all you have to do is look at the current events that are forming future trends, and you can see them one after another. You see it with with these currency wars going on, where every country out there, not everyone, but China, the U.S., Japan, lowering interest rates, or keeping their value of their currencies low, such as with Taiwan and South Korea with their currency intervention. Is it any wonder why gold prices are going so high? It shouldn't come as a wonder to anyone. They're printing all of this digital money out of thin air, and it's not worth the paper it's not printed on. So, of course, we're going to see gold go up. Should it come to a surprise to anyone, as a surprise? And we're looking at gold 2000, just for the record. We see this becoming a real meltdown. And so we had predicted the crash of 2010. And it's underway. We weren't talking about a stock market crash. That's insignificant. We said there was going to be some kind of financial calamity, and it looks like that gold is signaling that, not only in the financial aspect, but also be prepared and forewarned is forearmed that we may also see some kind of geopolitical uprising, be it in the form of terror, war, or something of that nature.
Well, one of the first things that I thought of when I heard the news that all these foreclosures are going to be stopped, even people that purchase foreclosure properties, I've heard that the banks since 2008 are withholding, even from commercial reselling of the properties, $460 billion of homes. That doesn't even include commercial real estate. Now that the foreclosures are literally, quote, stopped and could be literally held up in limbo indefinitely, what is this going to do? I mean, are people at some point, or even a percentage, 10, 15, 20%, going to say, to heck with it? Why do I have to pay the mortgage? I should put my money into.
That may become a reality.
I should put my money into gold and just.
It's a very strong reality.
Yeah.
This whole thing is out of control. Oh, remember this one? How about an $8,000 tax break to buy a new home? Remember that one? How many, $50 billion deal that was to bail out the real estate industry and the construction industry?
Right.
Oh, what a wonderful job it did, didn't it? It did nothing. What they did was they suckered people into buying into a falling market. It's like catching a falling knife, and the people bought into it. So no, there's no recovery at hand. They're priming the pump with more and more trillions. There's going to be the real estate crisis will continue. Unemployment numbers, we just saw them come out. They're dismal. But when you're looking at the effective unemployment rate, those people working part-time, wanting full-time, can't find jobs, we're looking at 17.5%.
So if you were to say, here, I'm going to give a profile of a family. Let's say they're middle to middle upper income. They're thinking about purchasing a home. Maybe they're even renting the home, but they're looking at the market now. They're saying, gee, all the comparable prices, the houses are dropping in value. The mortgages are even harder to get now, and they want even a bigger percentage. Instead of 10% down or even 0%, they want 20 or 30%. If you were purchasing a home now, what would you tell them? Would you say, hold off? Because, as you said in your opening statement there in that newsletter, we're looking at the possibility that the value of homes will be half what they were at 2006 peak. Does that mean that anybody with common sense is going to look at this and say, I'm not buying now anything unless I absolutely have to?
Well, again, that's the absolutely have to is one of the facts. The other one is if you can afford it, do you want to do it? And, of course, I'm not giving advice. I want to make that clear.
Yeah, but a general principle.
If you can afford it and if it does go down another 20%, it won't make any difference to you, but you want to keep living your life, that's another consideration. If you're, you're heading toward those sunset years and you have enough where you think you're going to be comfortable at the end and you want to live in, your dream house and you can afford to do it, those are good reasons. But I wouldn't buy it for speculation for myself, and I would only buy out of need, or is it that very extra special gem that comes along once in a lifetime, and that money's not the object at this point?
Yeah, in other words,
I wouldn't run out. I'm old enough. When my parents made their souls rest in peace, when people didn't buy homes until they were well established, in their 30s and mid 30s, and raising families, you lived in apartment houses before then, until you could really afford it. And then this whole sickness got out there. As soon as people got married, they bought homes, and they were still in their middle 20s. Who made this one up? And so, that's the way I feel about the whole home thing. Just take it easy a while and, rent until you could afford.
Yeah, exactly. And what I generally see too. What about investments? I mean, the stock market's going up and up and up, but it seems so artificial. It's it's a rigged game. How many more times do you have to read about an inside trader deal? How many times do you have to see more manipulations like that flash crash that happened? For me, anybody that invests in Wall Street and loses money on the stock market, they deserve what they get. It's a rigged game. These aren't brokers, they're bookies. And they're just like, we hear about these bookies that tell people to, buy certain things while they're betting against them, like the Goldman Sachs gang was convicted of doing. So, or alleged to have done. I want to be careful in saying that. Wouldn't want any of the white shoe boys, trying to sue me for saying an A instead of a V or an apostrophe S rather than S, So, no, anybody to me that goes into the stock market is betting on betting on a rigged game. Now, the situation is there's a menu of things that are literally, I call it the devil's menu of catastrophes that could precipitate the crash. That menu is getting longer. What do you say are the primary, items on the menu? Let's say you open the menu up and you say, let's see, what is today? Flambéed economy, stock market crash, bank holidays. The Irish decide to become Irish in their attitude toward this debt, which is like the Reparations Act of World War I in the Weimar Republic. What's the list of items that you see right now, and what's the timeline relatively? Not without giving exact times, but let's run through those to just give people a perspective of how you've been so accurate over the years, because you look at it very cold, hard, logic, and then you give people, tools to become empowered and not become overcome in fear.
I would say that you have to, again, look at the current events forming future trends. And what's the big one right now? It's gold at $1,353 an ounce, up from $201, up from $275 an ounce when we predicted when we predicted the gold bull run in December of 2001. Gold is speaking volumes. It's speaking geopolitical. It's speaking socioeconomic. Gold has no heart, no emotion. It's only the metal that speaks louder than any other for centuries. And it's telling people to be prepared.